Hello.
Hi. So today I have my brother Jacob, and we're going to do a show talking about his experience waking up and how it was for him. So Jacob, introduce yourself real quick. Story of like when you got baptized and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, so my name is Jacob. I was baptized when I was 12 years old.
Wait, I
So,
thought you were 9.
was I 9? Jeez,
I
it's
was
been a long.
pretty sure.
God,
Because like
it's
I
been
got
a.
baptized when I was 14, and then you got baptized like the following year.
No, I think I got baptized in '09.
Oh, well, I've been telling everyone you got baptized when you were 9, so I was wrong. My bad.
Oh, it's all good. Get the facts out. Anyway,
Fact checking.
fact check it. Yeah, so yeah, I was just born and raised into it, kind of like a lot of people are.
Hmm.
Like you were. Well, I mean, you already know that. But but yeah, it was not fun. So did you want me to tell the story about how I started waking up or
Yes, let's go ahead and
okay.
start with that one.
Yeah, so I was just living my worst life as it were at the time. And I I ended up taking a midnight job when I was like 19. And so I just stopped going to meetings, stopped studying because I just slowly drifted away. I got told by two elders when I first got the job that this was a horrible idea and that I was going to end up leaving the truth if I continued on my path. To which I just brushed them off and was like, nah, I'm fine. But
See, it's kind of funny that they were so concerned about not your livelihood or anything to do with that, but the fact that you might leave
well,
was
I mean, that's always the main concern is like if you leave, because then they're screwed on people.
that's true. So, like, what were some of the things besides being able to like quit going to the meetings and studying? Were some of the stuff that woke you up to the fact that this was a cult?
Um, Ironically, it wasn't. I didn't even really think it was a cult until until I was living with you and like started really looking into it. Because for the longest time I just went, oh, it's just a religion. It's just like every other religion, and I was just kind of was like, whatever. I guess I'll just do this for a while until I get bored of it. But I mean, my original plan was to wait until just just wait until I had my own place, and then I was just gonna leave, make a
So you
spectacular display.
so you were planning like let me see if I got this right. So you feel like all religions is kind of like the same, and you were
Well,
planning on
at that time,
okay.
yeah, at that time, I just kind of figured everything was kind of similar, and my plan was like I said, I'd moved in with you guys to go like
Mhm.
find a place down in Grand Rapids, so that was my plan was to just as soon as I found a place, I was just gonna leave. So I was like pretty much in the midst of fading, and then you ended up confronting me about it, which took all of my plans and threw them into the mud.
Best laid plans, right?
Yes, all the best laid plans immediately go to shit. So yeah.
So that leads into our next question was how was it for you like waking up and being awake, or I guess at this time just being kind of done with the religion and then your
It
whole family being insanely into it?
it kind of sucked because like I had kind of just accepted like I was like at this time I still wasn't aware that I was like completely wrong or whatever. So like I just was kind of was going through the motions and I was just kind of at the point like, well, if I die in the Great Tribulation, I die if it is true, and I was like, whatever. So I was just kind of going with the flow, just like if I die, I die, if I don't, I don't, and just trying my best not to get caught doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to.
Which that makes me kind of want to like skip my next question and go straight into that one. What were some of the times that you almost got caught living your double life? And what were some of the things you were doing?
I wasn't doing anything too bad. Like well, okay, I say too bad, but
by witness standards, I'm sure it was different. But by like just plain and normal people, you're being a
by
kid.
plain and normal people, yeah, I was totally fine. By witnesses, no, I was probably the devil. So it wasn't the greatest. The closest time for me that ever came was I almost got caught. Like I almost got caught smoking because I was smoking a joint in a parking lot, and I saw like one of the brothers' cars pulling up to the store. So I just like quickly threw that out and just drove away.
Oh my
but that was like that was probably one of the closest times that I've almost gotten caught doing dumb stuff.
That makes me think of a really funny thing that happened after we left.
Oh,
when we went, that was hilarious. Like,
well,
we will save that for like after when we both woke up. But when we were heading out, or like, I forget what town we were in. Was it? It wasn't McBain. It was. What was it?
You thinking of Tustin or something?
No, we were gonna go to Tustin, and then we headed to the bird sanctuary.
Oh yes.
Yes. So speaking of living double lives.
Speaking of living double lives, yes, that was beautiful. Yeah. Go up to Arcadia and catch an old elder smoking cigarettes. That was beautiful.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, so that happened like
nothing has came of that, by the way.
Of course not, because it's going to be denied.
Nothing has, like, he denied it completely, but he got very mad at Dad and like accused him of like letting us stay there. It was stupid.
So Jacob and I, just to give like some backstory on this, we had like just sent our letters in. I don't even. Did they
hadn't
get
even
got? Or no?
We didn't even turn them in yet.
Like, I think I just mailed them.
No, because we wrote them that night.
Okay.
That was like the kind of the final straw almost.
Yeah, we were just had like decided that we were done with this, and so we went off for a drive just to like, because neither of us were working that day, and we needed to just get out of the house and go do something. So we went to a bird sanctuary, and then we were walking around downtown Arcadia, and we found ran into an elder from like our congregation growing up. So we hadn't seen him in years, and he was in the back alley smoking a cigarette, and then like,
it's beautiful,
hit it and had the audacity, because he didn't recognize Jacob, because like at this time Jacob's got his tattoos, he's got his gauges. So he's like, who's this worldly boy you with? Like thinking that about doing something I shouldn't be, but I was just hanging out with my brother. So that was pretty funny.
That was beautiful too. He was not a happy boy.
No, he was not.
Nuts.
So, what made you, I think we kind of touched on this one already, but what made you decide to try to wake me up?
So I actually did not decide to try and wake her up. What happened was she came back from Pioneer School and just started accusing me of like being an apostate, to which led me to be like, whoa, actually it's all kind of crazy nonsense. And then to which you responded, oh wait, yes it is.
Did it surprise you or shock you how fast I woke up?
Well, yeah, it went from I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be kicked out, to, oh, I guess we're both getting kicked out now? Cool.
I know, that was crazy.
So yeah, it was a lot of craziness. Like, yeah, I literally thought like the worst was gonna happen just the moment you were like, hey, what's going on with this? And then the moment you hit me with the question, like, do you not even care anymore? I was just like, ah, crap. Here we go again. And then yeah, fortunately you were open to like reason and rational arguments. which was definitely a good fan. It was
It's
kind
true.
of funny, like how I started waking up and stuff. I do give good credit to John Cedars and Mr. Atheist, because those were like the two biggest reasons that I woke up. Was I had already, this was like after I full on had doubts, was living a double life and stuff, and I just randomly found Mr. Atheist channel the one day, and he had John Cedars covering it, or Lloyd. He had him covering his channel, and I just like, it was on something about witnesses, and I just was like, oh, okay, here, let's see what these people have to say. And then after I watched it, I was like, oh, that actually kind of makes sense. It was which was great.
I think like it's really awesome that you were able to just have the bravery to just check it out, because when you think of so many people that don't.
Oh, there's so many people that don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's that's kind of the sad thing about it, though, is just there's so many people that are like, oh no, that's just apostate lies, and they brush it off like it's nothing.
Well, even like not just the apostate stuff, but like literature from the society. Like I sent Lena, Laura, and Bethia the Elder's Manual, and none of them would look at it.
Well, yeah, like they're good witnesses, I guess. Like they're
Oh, right.
they don't accept any of that.
No. But I just think it's awesome that you decided to check it out.
Well, yeah, it's just it was the thing. Like at that time, I was like, oh well, I might as well just see what the other side is saying, and then I was like, oh well, that makes a lot more sense than what this side is saying. And it was, yeah, and after watching a lot of those and like actually going in and doing my own research on the matter, I was just like, I couldn't yeah, I wouldn't have been able to live with myself just pretending to go on anymore. Because it just, yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess one of the biggest things too was the I guess like the protesters down there at the Kingdom Hall. That actually did a lot of good, because I actually went and looked up what their posters were saying.
Yes.
Which was it was a great poster. It was like, hey, look it up for yourself, see what these people say. And I was like, well, you know what? I might just do that. And I was like, oh, well, shit.
Knowledge is power. Once you have it, you can't pretend like you don't know anymore.
Yeah. That was the. Anyway, what's anything else you want to know, or?
Yeah, just like kind of open it up to things you want to talk about. How's your life been? like, do you feel freer and happier being able to just be honest and be yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's 100% better. Like you don't have to be around people that you can't stand just because you're told that you have to. And that's something for me that I really enjoy, because I did not get along with a lot of people. Well, obviously because I don't have that type of personality to just be that. But yeah. But yeah, now I'm like a lot happier living my life as a goth hippie than I ever was living as like a sad witness.
It's really sad. It's like from the time you were 2, you would go in the Kingdom Hall, avoid talking to anybody, and just sit down and just not want to have anything to do with anyone there.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, that was the thing, is I just like I couldn't deal with it. I was like, it's too much.
2 years old and already like, nope, this ain't for me.
Yeah, I think kind of everyone knew that towards the end anyway, that it just really wasn't for me.
Well, like, one thing that I have like a lot of respect for you is the fact that you were able to stick it out so long and kind of go under the radar. Because like the first time I went to a meeting after waking up, I could not stand sitting through it.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Well, that's you. Well, yeah. Well, smoking does help with like trying to deal with that if you got to sit through assembly and stuff. I will say.
I can't believe you could do that.
Well, like yeah, like there's ways to do stuff, and it does help out a lot. especially just trying to like, oof, some of that stuff that they say you kind of need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, like, I came back and I talked, and was like, how do you put up with this? Like, I couldn't take it.
Yes, exactly.
It's
Just like,
funny.
well, here you go. But no, yeah, it just yeah, since then I've made a lot of friends that are actually friends instead of just the
Surface
I guess
friends.
like the yeah, service friends or like the fake witness type that just don't very nice to your face and in the moment you turn around just doesn't care.
Well, it's more than that too. Like, I found a lot with witnesses is they will be your friends as long as there's not a better offer or
Yeah.
something better to
That
do.
or if there's not that or if they're you don't have something that they can tell on. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's their favorite thing to do for some reason.
Well, that was one thing I wanted to like talk to is so when you were in, you had a lot of friends who were like doing
I
stuff
mean,
that wasn't witnessy.
oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. You find like-minded people wherever you are, I say. So if you're looking for someone, or if you're just that type of person, you'll end up finding people that are like-minded.
Which I think is a really good thing. Like, it's important to be able to have that wherever you're at in life.
Yeah, it is definitely a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So, have you like since being out, have you been able to like reconnect with people that you weren't able to be with, or friends with? I meant to say because of the Watchtower.
Yeah, I've reconnected with a few disfellowship friends that like I grew up with not being able to talk to because they left when I was a bit younger, which is a breath of fresh relief, like breath of fresh air when you can talk to people that you haven't talked to in a long time, and the only reason you're not able to talk to them is just because someone told you not to. It is, yeah.
I
I don't
agree.
know. It's almost not human when you force people not to be around people that they love just for dumb reasons.
Yeah, because you don't want them to wake up and leave your cult.
No, I mean that's like one of my biggest regrets. One of my good friends growing up, like he died or he killed himself just because he wanted someone to come back. So that was his goal to like try and get someone to wake up and come back to God. Yeah, it's
That's
honestly it's rough when stuff like that happens.
that is true. It's really sad when you stop to think how responsible the
Oh,
like how many people's death this cult is responsible for. When
yeah,
you
the amount of lives that they have lost, I honestly believe is far more than the number that they've gained in members. It just they're constantly losing people, which
would
is a
you have
good thing, but
well the sad thing is like they don't not everyone who leaves wakes up.
that is a sad thing. I know there are some people that have still not woken up, like years after they left, and they're just like waiting for things to get bad just so that they can go run back and be saved. And it's just like, it's not even worth it.
I agree. So what are like some of the things you enjoy about life that you weren't really allowed to do before leaving?
Uh, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you have to do. I mean, like, biggest one, I enjoy celebrating birthdays now. Loads of fun.
I get to
Um,
celebrate my first birthday today.
oh, well, happy birthday.
Well, it's not mine, but where Connor has a friend who they're throwing like a mass birthday party for him because of COVID. So that's who
This
like
is where all of your viewers find out I have no idea any of my siblings' birthdays. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Happy birthday, I guess.
well that's something that the Watchtower robs you of.
Oh, yes. But, yeah,
So
just simple things like that. I feel a lot more grateful now, too, just because, like, my one bro said it best is like, when you're in it, you feel so, like, you're always constantly telling people like, oh, I don't celebrate this or I don't celebrate that. Even if someone's like just says like, oh, have a Merry Christmas or whatever, and it's almost like it's not good enough for us because we don't respect their belief enough to just say, oh, thank you.
Mhm.
And it's like since then I feel a lot more grateful to people because I can actually like say thank you for stuff or acknowledge their efforts in trying to do things.
I
Because
agree.
I used to work in retail, and whenever you try to just be like, "Oh, have a nice day," and someone's like, "Actually, I don't believe in that," you're just like, "Could you shut up? Nobody cares." So yeah, it honestly it makes me feel a lot better that I don't have to
Yeah.
say spout some cockamamie bull crap every time someone just tries to say to have a nice day.
Yes, and
Oof.
that is so pushed. Like you have to give a witness and like tell
It's like
people.
every chance you have, you're supposed to like make it's almost worse than vegans.
Yes.
Every chance you have to make it known.
Be like, sorry, I don't eat meat. No, actually, I don't do any holidays or anything like that.
Yeah, it's like yeah. But but yeah, it since then there's so many benefits to just be had.
I agree. One thing I really appreciate is I feel like we're actually able to be close and know each other.
Oh
Like,
yeah, definitely. Like even like with siblings and like best friends in there, like you always if you want to like I guess it's kind of horrible to say, but if you want to be like good at being in and like not getting caught at the same time, you have to be able to lie very well, which is very tiring.
well, and it's not just about getting caught, it's about anything you do. Like, say you like a movie that
Oh
someone
yeah,
else
just
may find
well that
offensive.
oh yeah, well that's the biggest thing. Like even when I would invite people over just to hang out, I'd have to go through my room and like put away movies or like put away board games or like put away types of video games that might offend somebody. And
Yeah.
it's like now I don't even have to worry about that. I can just like have people over and be like, yeah, if there's something you don't like, then I don't care. And it's just so much better just to do that than have to like go around your house trying to hide everything that might be offensive to somebody just because you don't want to have that conversation with someone.
And it doesn't matter, like, what it is. If they find it offensive, then it's a huge
Hmm.
problem. And they're like, my
Yeah.
conscience is bothered.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing is like growing up it was always like that. Like, oh, you have a video game that shows blood in it. Oh, it's unacceptable. But then the same person would play a game with magic or something else in it that they could like and everyone has justifications for something. So it didn't matter what it was. They would always justify their thing, but your thing was too much. And
That's,
it gets so tiring after a while.
I have to agree with you. It's nice to be able to, like, I want to say it's nice to speak your mind, but I feel like that's something I'm still struggling with is being just genuinely able to express myself because there's always that witness part that is like back there and kind of like
It
hampers me. Have you gotten over that yet, or you still find that an issue?
I mean, it definitely takes some time. Like, I mean, there's times when someone will like being a jerk in traffic, and I'll go to flip them off, and then like stop myself for a second, and then I'm also just like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to stop myself and continue on with my day. But yeah, there's definite things that you catch yourself doing that are just habit formed. But I mean, it's habits formed over a lifetime, so it takes a while to undo that type of thing.
That is very
It's a lot
true.
of indoctrination you got to overcome.
Oh, yeah. I think that is very well said.
Um, but yeah, so
So we
trying
covered
to,
like all my questions in the first 9 minutes. So if you have anything you want to share.
I don't really have anything else I wanted to say, unless if you had something you wanted to just pinpoint on.
Let me take a minute.
I mean,
So
that kind of covers everything I had.
it does. Something I kind of want to get into, but so just your opinion of like being a witness and how it has affected not only you but our whole family. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, would I? Well, I don't want to say like I wouldn't have any of us have been one because like I say is if I wasn't the person that I am now, I don't know if I'd like the person that I would have ended up being otherwise.
Mhm.
So I'm just whatever I'm stuck with, I'm stuck with. But however, if I could have chose to like do it differently, I definitely would have. Like, because I mean, yeah, we're only second generation witnesses, and you look at how much damage that has done to like just that group of people. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, I mean, like to the point of where neither of us really know any of our cousins or anyone in our family that wasn't a witness. Like, I still meet people today that are like, "Oh, I'm related to you," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I have no idea who you are." So it's a very interesting and weird thing. But on top of that, I mean, on top of the witness aspect, we also had our parents who were also just kind of like keep. They were already kind of like keep the children home, kind of culty vibe anyway.
Yeah, a
So it
little bit.
did. So you have had to deal with double the cult. Kind
Yeah.
of so much fun.
And that, like how you said about not being able to know our family, it's especially sad when you think about all of our neighbors around us. We're basically our family, and we didn't get
Oh
to know
yeah. Well, that's the thing is like literally we lived from cousins our age, like less than 50 feet from them, and we still weren't allowed to hang out.
them.
It's such a weird thing to me.
And
Definitely, if I had kids, I would not do that. But it
same.
just, yeah,
See, like I remember we got to hang out with Al and Adriana a little bit, but only when Aunt Joni was studying. That was the
yeah.
only
Well,
time we were able to
that's
hang
the
out.
thing is like if someone's studying, oh, then it's fine because you're like trying to help indoctrinate them. But if someone isn't studying, then yeah, you have no reason to be over there, which is such an asinine teaching.
Well, it's really messed up, and especially when you think their whole reason is they don't want you to get close to people because they're going to die in Armageddon. But the real reason, this, which is something I've noticed a lot, you have the reason that the members believe, and then the reason it actually is. And so the reason
Yeah.
it actually is because they don't want you to lose your indoctrination. So
Well,
they
I mean
don't want you to hang out with anybody
that's
who's not.
with any cult. Or
That's true.
sorry to interrupt. That's like with any cult though. Is the moment people start waking up is the moment you lose all power over them. So that's you have to maintain control 100% of the time because even in that 1% of the time that you don't have control, that person can be looking at something else. That's why there's always such a huge push, especially nowadays, just to study and study and study, because that's literally all they have is free time, which is like
Mhm.
the first time ever, because they're not going out in service, they're not going to meetings, so they're like literally. I had to stop by mom and dad's to pick up some stuff and drop off some stuff for storage while I was moving, and yeah, they literally they have the TV on playing videos. They have their iPad on reading them the Bible reading, and then they're like reading the day's text and prayed. So they're like
All
four
at the
different
same time.
yeah, all at the same time. I was just like this is too much.
Talk about the
It was nuts.
brainwashing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it just the brainwashing is unbelievable.
Yeah. When I was in, which that wasn't that long ago, it felt like you had to constantly study. So I can't imagine how it is for people now
Oh,
because like
that
I
the
couldn't keep up back then, and I
yeah.
tried.
I did not try, like even a
Well, you
little bit.
were better off.
Oh, it was yeah. The moment I hit like 17, 18, and I told dad like, "Hey, I can just study on my own." Best day of my life. I was like I'll just study on my own and then just immediately stop studying. Beautiful.
I remember when I was 20 and I told mom that I wanted to like do my own studying because they were very strict about it.
Yeah.
Like any study, like when, well, you could do personal study, but for meetings or anything, you had to study as a family. And it was like these super long lectures, which went way off the material and ended up being everything you're doing wrong in life. And
Well,
just like,
that's why I stopped doing that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to my own hall and I'm doing my own thing.
yes, but like I told them that, and mom lost her mind on me because she's
Yeah.
like, you're going to leave the truth because you're going to study on your own.
I mean, to be fair, she was not wrong.
Well, it took a lot, like
It took a
6
lot longer
years
than
from
she thought. But that is the I mean, it is 100% true though. The more you study on your own and do your own research, the
yes.
more likely you are to leave a religion. But that's
And
a good fate. It's not a bad fate.
yes, it's kind of ridiculous though to be that controlling over your grown adult children.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just it is a weird thing with witnesses is they're very involved in their children's lives if their children are in the truth. But that or I guess not even see even that it's like indoctrination 101 is even if their children are Jehovah's Witnesses like involved in that. It very much is they're very involved in their lives but I mean they have to be because that's the only interaction with people that they have for the most part. Like if
That's
their kids are Jehovah's Witnesses and are practicing, then they spend all their time with them because they have no one else to hang out with and do things with.
yeah.
So
Because oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
Hmm.
Okay, but yeah, so that's really all they can do though.
Yeah, and what I was going to bring out is a lot of young people are waking up and leaving.
Yeah,
So that brings your association down to your parents, the few young people left, and then the older people in the hall.
yeah. And I mean that's why they're constantly when I was in it, they were constantly pushing like, "Oh, hang out with old people and hang out with young people because that's all there is."
Mm-hmm.
It's like no.
Which
It
I feel
also
like,
seems like a lot more people were marrying outside of the Jehovah's Witness organization when I
yes,
was still in it.
I noticed that too towards the end.
Yeah, because there's really not very many people. It's well around us anyway, where we were living that were actually involved in it.
And I kind of feel like being in a witness kind of robbed you of, well, especially with our growing up, how like things we should know our age, like music that was popular for our generation and TV shows that were popular for our generation. Just those common shared
Interests that
things
people have.
that as a witness, you're robbed of that. You don't get to
Oh yeah.
know what's going on and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's like even now I'm still like trying to catch up with some of that stuff. Like I recently was reading the Harry Potter novels because people were telling me that they were really good and that I need to catch up on it. Although I guess now they're saying that the ladies who wrote them is crazy or something like that, which is whatever.
Entertainment and art is just that.
Yeah,
Art.
it, couldn't say it better myself. Entertainment is it's just art. It's meant to entertain.
Exactly. And this is another point that I want to like get your opinion on. So something that might sound a little contradictory is how like being in the cult, it robs you of your childhood and keeps you in a childlike state constantly.
Yeah, I would say so. It definitely makes you more dependent on other people, or at least tries to.
Yeah. And whereas like how it robs you of your childhood is because from the time you go to meetings, you can be months old, you're expected to sit quietly and listen.
Yeah,
Brand new newborn babies have to be quiet, sitting and paying attention, and you are constantly out in service from like the moment you're born till you die. You're expected to be out in service to live this perfect image for people. And I feel like that steals your childhood from you.
well, yeah, it definitely does. Like you cannot just relax and be a child. You have to be constantly perfect or like as good as on your best behavior at all times. You're supposed to be like on your toes, making sure that you're not screwing up.
Yeah. The countless times I remember growing up and we'd all be just hanging out in the living room. We'd either be watching a movie or playing a game or just goofing off, and mom would be like, "You have to read your watchtower. Read your awake. Turn this stuff off."
Yeah, and that is the thing though. Is like I mean, on top of that, our parents didn't just use it as a religion. It was more or less used as a punishment too, because
Yeah.
they knew we didn't like it. So anytime they wanted to punish us, it was mine mostly involved like, oh, you have to study or oh, you have to do this thing. So it almost gave it a negative connotation in its own way,
Yeah.
for me at least.
No, I can definitely agree with you. It made me hate reading
Oh
because
yeah,
it was
I
constantly forced.
that's a even like nowadays if someone's like, oh, here's a large book to read, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Same.
It's like I'll just get the audiobook or something because it just I don't know. It's almost too much.
Yeah. It makes like it feels like a punishment.
It
And it's
does.
not something I want to do.
Yeah, it's not something I enjoy anymore. I used to like reading, now I not really.
It's frustrating. Yes. And the points about keeping you in a childlike state of how, like you said, you're dependent on other people for everything. Like any
Yeah,
decision you make, you have to go
you
through.
have to ask me. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, wasn't there a thing in like one of the watchtowers before we left where it was like even if you want to move or something, you're supposed to like talk to the elders?
Oh
It was
yeah,
such a weird thing to me. I was like, what the heck is it's just getting to the point where they're gonna move them out to a compound or something.
probably like with us when we were buying the house, we got huge grief because we weren't getting an apartment. And the fact that we were building a house was like, and we like,
So
it was the horrible thing. Like, it was just this normal thing that most married couples do eventually is get their own home.
yeah.
We got like put through the ringer because we were trying to buy a house rather than have an apartment.
Yes, how dare you not do what they want?
I know, like seriously.
Yeah,
Sell everything and serve Watchtower.
pretty much. But yeah, it just ugh. I got so fed up with that stuff. They my one friend whose dad died a few years ago, they were trying to get him to donate his house to Watchtower,
I
like to
remember
put it
that.
into his will. And I was like, hey, what about his kid who like needs a house? It's like maybe don't do that.
And now you think they have enough property, but it's never enough for them.
Yeah, it was such a stupid thing too. He ended. I was happy with him because he told him no, but it was such a weird thing to me that I didn't even know that they could donate their house or property to Watchtower, and then yeah, like he was just like, oh yeah, I was thinking about doing that, and I was like, maybe don't. It's a bad
You have
idea.
a child.
Yeah, it's like they kind of need a house, not just like kick them out on the street or whatever. Uh, but yeah, it definitely ruins lives.
For sure. And one thing I was grateful to mom and dad with is that they didn't end up kicking us out like when we decided to leave. They kicked us out plenty of times before
I
that.
mean,
But
yeah, they kicked us out very many times. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, that's just. I honestly believe though that is dad because if it was mom on her own, she would have
Oh
kicked
yeah.
us out. She would. She is very, very indoctrinated.
So much. That's why I ended up having to not have anything to do with them, is because every time I talked to them, it was constant. You have to rejoin. You're going to die at Armageddon. Jehovah's going to destroy me for talking to you.
Yes, and it's too much. It just I don't deal well with people that are always like it's the end of the world, and it's like, yeah, but you said that last month, and it's still not the end of the world.
I know that was something that really helped me towards waking up, and was why I was so willing to hear what you had to say about the organization when you did, is because mom and dad were like constantly, we weren't going to graduate high school, we weren't going to finish kindergarten, we weren't going to get married, and yet here I was married, sitting through convention after convention, and the end was no closer than
I just feel so bad for the old timers. Like, you gotta imagine some of them have been sitting there since like 1920s or what now.
Yeah.
I think like the last ones from 1914 died, but there's still like a couple really old people that are still just sitting here being like, oh, the end still hasn't come. I'm like, you gotta wonder if they think that way or not.
I kind of think they do, because that was another thing that really bothered me, is there's this one older sister in the last hall we were in, and she had pioneered for years, like decades. That was all she did. And she shunned her children because, they left, so she wouldn't have anything to do with them, because she was loyal to Jehovah. She wasn't talking to them. She ended up getting dementia.
Oh,
and this congregation that she gave her life to
didn't give a crap.
Not at all. Yeah. They would not help her. They would not do diddly squat. So they ended up, like, the congregation got in touch with her daughter, who is like an apostate and out, which I really should text her and be like, hey, fellow apostate, how's your mom doing? But like, they completely went out, found her, and guilt tripped her into taking care of her mom, who had shunned her for years because they didn't want to take care of her.
Yeah.
She gave her life to them, and they wouldn't even help her out. And that really, like, that bothered me so much to see that.
Well, I mean, that is kind of the story of how it is. They're very big on making a show of, like, helping people, but if you actually look and dig down at the facts, they don't help anyone.
Well, I mean, like, we were a poor family growing up.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, like, it was just one of those things. But, I mean, we were looked down on in the congregations that we did go to anyway.
Yeah. And there really wasn't any need for that, honestly.
Well, I mean, it helped me wake up eventually, so.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's no need for them to treat us the way that we were treated.
Yeah.
No, hold on. You muted yourself, bud.
I said I think my headphone just died. So.
I think so.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to go, or if you.
No, we can probably go ahead and stop now. But yeah.
All right.
But thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Problem. Yeah, I will definitely take
Talk to you later.
Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching our conversation. Appreciate it. Hopefully this helped you guys. If you have any questions or thoughts or anything you want to know, just go ahead and leave it in a comment. We will try to answer them. Thank you.